Hello and welcome to Take Time. I am your host Patrick Marlatt, and today we are talking about the Marc & Sons XDWFB Limited Special Edition Diver's Watch. A watch so well camouflaged, you may just lose it on the wrist. So I've been around camo in military motifs my whole life. My father was in the Navy for 25 years. My brother was in the Coast Guard. I've got family in all branches of our armed forces. So that's Army, Marines, Air Force. Heck, my sister is a mall cop. I don't have a sister. I lied about that one. But where I grew up in Virginia, camouflage was a form of casual attire. So when I was approached to do a review on the new Marc & Sons limited special edition, yes, both limited and special edition diver's watch here, I didn't know what to think, having finally escaped my camo conundrum. However, I am so very glad that Al of the Wrist Fun over on Instagram and Divers Watch's Facebook group was able to get this out my way. I thought I was fed up with camo, but I'm actually pretty big on this design. Now, with all my reviews here on the channel, I like to start with the bad and then move on to the good before giving my final verdict on a review item. So let's talk MSXDW. The new Marc & Sons Divers Watch's Facebook group limited special edition has a 44.5mm diameter chassis with 50mm from lug end to lug end and is 13mm thick from the back of the case to the top of that crystal. It also has a 22mm lug width. The case and bracelet are of course made out of 316L stainless steel. The top crystal is sapphire. Now it states it's anti-reflective coated. Now I don't know whether that's the top or underside of the glass or both. They don't specify on their site. You might want to clean that up. The insert is made out of ceramic and it's also lumed. We'll check that out in just a few. And inside the watch is an ETA 2824. The bezel itself is of the 120 click variety and the dial comes in 5 different flavors. We have the Arctic, of course, here in front of us today, and you can tell that by not only the color combo of the camo, but the text over at the 6 o'clock position. Of course, I'll encourage you to check the link in my description to view all of the camo options, but we're going to be taking in solely this one today. All of these options will come at 495 euros or 560 US dollars if purchased stateside. Now, my first bad note is in regards to the dial. If you take in the handset, you'll notice that the lume is of a different color tone than that of the dial. It's more of a pristine white, where the dials is off-white. Now, it's important to note that this is a prototype of a final design made to be available come March of 2019, so you might have differences between this and the finished model. But I do bring up the lume because the renderings on their site showcase the lume being matched. Now, I don't personally mind the mix-match color tone of the lume on the handset and dial. I think it looks really nice when tied in with the camo dial. However, it might bother some. So it would be great to add a little blurb in your description stating that the lume is either going to be matched or mix-matched as it's seen here, and change the rendering so it looks like the final model. My next issue is with the clasp. Now, I've made my opinion quite clear on this type of clasp on the show already, but I feel it looks cheap and I generally don't like the fit or feel of these clasps. However, I will say that the ratcheting system here does do a decent job of making sure this fits your wrist nicely. And the micro adjustment levels, there are 3 of them, do a fantastic job of ensuring you get the right fit. However, this clasp in general, not my favorite. My only other gripe with this watch is the crown here. I find it extremely hard to grip, and that's not because of the crown guards, it's because of the finishing on the surface of the crown, the surface area being of the high polished variety. I find it extremely slick and difficult to grip. However, as the crown only needs to be accessed the once if you're going to wear this, this is a relatively minor problem, though I prefer an updated or easier, grippier crown. And with all of those bad notes out of the way, why don't we talk about what this limited special edition does right. The bracelet here is pretty stellar, though it is rather squeaky. It's extremely comfortable on the wrist, and with the screwed in links, it's easy to size for most individuals, so long as you have a jeweler's flat head somewhere nearby. The case detailing here is extremely premium, especially for the asking price. And the case language itself is really lovely, with nods to Patex's Nautilus series with those rectangular accents found on both sides, as well as older style Monin divers like the Hoyer 844's lug and dial aesthetic. The lume here is really great. It's both bright and even, what you'd expect from a well-executed dive watch. And being Super Luminova BGW9, you can expect it to last through most of your night. The proportions here, though large, are really favorable for a 500-meter diver's watch. I don't normally go for watches that are over 41 millimeters in diameter, but Marc & Sons did a great job with the overall scale here. Now, lastly, let's take in that dial. Of all the camo dial variants, this was easily my favorite. The Arctic coloration is handsome and goes well with several different looks. However, if blue isn't your go-to color, one of the 4 other dials will likely suit you. Now, before I give you my final verdict on the watch, I'm of course going to provide you a wrist shot so you can see what this will look like on a 7¼ inch wrist. Genuinely, I didn't think I would like wearing a camo watch. I think this look is most suited for those in the armed forces, but it works really well here. I am happily surprised to be proven wrong. Here is the watch on a 7¼ inch wrist. This is what it'll look like for all of your admirers. And when you are going to admire the watch, it's going to look a little something like this. And here is the watch on a 7¼ inch wrist. And you can see the profile of the watch looks fantastic on this sized wrist. 50 millimeters from lug end to lug end works extremely well. And the slim 13 millimeter profile works extremely well with this watch. It doesn't wear like a thicker watch. 13 millimeters, in my opinion, not being that thick to begin with, but this looks really good all the way around. Again, Marc & Sons did a fantastic job with the overall scale. And I love the little Divers Watches Facebook group logo at the 7-ish o'clock, just past 7:30 position. The scuba man looks awesome down there and ties in really well with this dial's aesthetic. At $560, it's hard not to like this watch. You have great material options here, a solid bracelet, a fantastic movement inside this watch, and a really favorable scale for most wrists. Having had this watch in has made me look over the rest of Marc & Sons' entire catalog. The whole range of these limited special editions is a lovely tribute to armed forces everywhere. So whether you're in the service or just want to blend in with your native environment, this is an awesome choice. If you found this video enlightening or in the least entertaining, feel free to hit that like button. It looks a whole heck of a lot like this guy. If you have friends, forums, or groups that were interested in a camouflaged watch, perhaps to go with their service uniform, well, feel free to share this video with them. It is a really unique offering, especially at the build quality that this watch is at. With that 2824 at under $600, this is going to be really appealing to a lot of folks. So feel free to share this video with them. And if you're new to the channel, well, welcome. I do videos like this 2 or more times a week. So if watch content is your thing, feel free to slam that subscribe button. And while you're down there, you can hit the bell icon just next to that to be alerted as to when my videos air. Again, my name is Patrick Marlatt, and thank you for the time.